Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my first ever YouTube channel. This is a podcast, and my name is Christopher West, and I'm very excited to show y'all what I've been working on. I am 19 days late on getting it out. I told everybody on my Facebook I was going to drop it New Year's Day, but I've been a lazy ass piece of shit hanging out with my girlfriend and doing absolutely nothing for the past 19 days. Just chilling. I finished the podcast. I finished the writing portion of it probably 4 or 5 days ago, and ever since then I just been, planning on filming it, but just have not. So here we are. Here's my first attempt. I have never actually recorded myself. I feel very strange and awkward and unnatural doing this. I'm just sitting in my bedroom. Tried to give you a nice backdrop, just my wall with a bunch of video game maps. But here we go. Alright, so my podcast is about humanity and government, politics, spirituality, religion, mind control, brainwashing, every kind of conspiracy you can think of. I am going to be talking about it. But this first podcast is about the formula in which mankind needs to follow if they want to have a successful, free, safe, healthy life. Because as many of you probably know, we claim to be free living here in America, but we really are not at all. It's nice living here. It's better than most countries. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying it's horrible living here, but the principle of freedom, as a principle, we are not free. We are not free at all. And some of you may argue with me. Some of you may not. This podcast is honestly for people who are already conspiracy theorists, people who are already kind of at my level of thought process. Now, I'm not saying that people who are new to this or new to the ideas can't watch my podcast, because I personally feel like even without having it written out for articulated shit written out, I'm pretty good at conveying ideas and explaining things logically, I guess. So newcomers, people who are the conspiracy theorists, people who are crazy like me, people who, educated, uneducated, anybody can watch this podcast, sit down and watch it, and I feel like I can understand some shit that's going on. This first podcast, my first one ever, is about something called natural law. And when I say natural law, a lot of you will already have preconceived notions about what that is. And I'll get into that even further. But natural law is a very ancient idea. It's a very ancient philosophy, very ancient set of rules. It's older than Christianity, older than Buddhism. It's been pretty much around since humans have been able to talk to each other and discuss ideas with one another. Pretty much as old as language, as old as human beings. It's a very old philosophy, and I'm going to explain it to you right now. Now, before I actually explain what natural law is, hello? I don't work today. I'm filming my podcast right now. You interrupted the entire thing. But what was I? Oh, but you need some prerequisite knowledge. So, I lost my entire train of thought. First podcast problems. First world problems. So basically, natural law is. Oh, so here we go. You cannot learn something without saying you do not know first. If you already think you know what the fuck I'm talking about, you're not going to learn anything new, because you already think you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about, because when I say natural law, when you hear the term natural, you think of Darwinism. You think of the natural order. You think of the natural world. You think of natural selection. That's not what I'm talking about. Delete every kind of thought process, every prejudiced, prejudged thought in your mind. Delete every kind of internalized definition of natural and any kind of internalized mental definition of law in your mind, and listen to my definition, how I'm using it. So with that out of the way, natural law is the governing body of universal laws that govern human behavior and any species with a capacity of holistic intelligence. There are several principles of natural law that encompass the behavior of man. The 7 principles of natural law. I'm going to read them out loud to you right now. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Now, like I said, natural law is the governing body of universal laws that govern human behavior. This is pretty much the formula, just like how, for example, if I want to make a water bottle, you know, if I want to make this motherfucking water bottle, there are real world requirements on how to make this. I can't just, in my mind, picture a water bottle and it appears out of nowhere. I need to melt down the plastic, and the plastic melts at a certain degrees. And because of that, there are requirements to do things in real life, is what I'm trying to say. And just how people are so quick and easy to believe that there are physical laws of nature, gravity and such, there are behavioral laws of man. You act a certain way, certain shit's going to happen to you. You know what I mean? Cause and effect, one of the principles. So just like how there's a formula on how to make this. Once you learn it, you can make these with ease. You know what I mean? You may not be able to know the formula. You may be able to half-ass make a water bottle, maybe. But once you learn it down to a science, you learn exactly how it works, and you can build it with ease. Same thing with these behavioral laws of man. Once you learn it down to a science, you can pretty much create any kind of outcome or any kind of scenario with human beings. And those who are in power, the elite, not the Illuminati. Illuminati simply means illuminated one. Illuminati simply means someone who knows what's really going on. That's not, I guess you can call them that, but Illuminati could be good or bad. But the elite, the ones who are control of this world, the powers, as one of the podcast people that I listen to all the time, Mark Passio, the guy that gave me inspiration to make this podcast in the first place, look him up. Don't look him up if you're very lighthearted. Don't look him up if you're not very deep into this kind of stuff, because he's very brute, he's very belligerent, he's very in your face, he's absurd, he's obscene. But he inspired me to make this podcast. As he likes to call them, the powers that should not be in this world. They understand these laws. They understand these laws. They believe these laws. They know these laws are real. This is not a belief system. This is an observable, repeatable, testable thing in nature. Natural law is not a man-made concept. Natural law is not an agreed-upon set of rules. It is a discoverable set of rules within nature. It is beyond human perception. It was here before us. It will be here after us. It is always here. It is woven within the fabric of creation. It is within the universe. It's how the universe works. Gravity is a observable, discoverable thing. Natural law is a observable, discoverable thing. So like I said, the principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. 7 principles. And let me get into the description of these principles right now. So, mentalism is the idea and science that the all, everything in creation, reality, what we're living in, is a manifestation of the mind. This is the idea that God, this is the idea of God. God created our existence, And I'm not saying the Christian God. I'm not saying, Allah, same thing, honestly. But I'm not saying any kind of these religious God, just God in general, the creator. Whoever, whatever that is, whatever you want to ascribe that to, the creator of this universe. The universe is a manifestation of his mind. Just like this water bottle, somebody thought of this water bottle first. Somebody thought, I want an easy way to hold my water. It was a thought first. And then they pictured this in their mind. And then found out the requirements in reality to make this. They found out they needed plastic. They found out they needed this and that. They found out what they needed, and they made it. But it started with a thought first. I want to hold my water easier. I want to carry my water around easier. Whatever. It started on the mind first. So, mentalism is the idea and science that the all, everything in creation, is a manifestation of the mind. Thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything you think. For anything to exist, thought had to come first. Thought precedes manifestation always. Thought creates things and conditions. Things do not and cannot magically create themselves. The thought process is what causes people to behave and act a certain way they do. So not only are thoughts responsible for the manifestation of things, but they're also responsible for the manifestation of behaviors. Because if I think a certain way, for example, if I think somebody did something to me, I'm going to act a certain way according to what I thought they did to me. You know what I mean? Thoughts are what create your emotions. Because of what you think, that's how you feel. And because of how you feel, that's how you're going to act. Think. It all started in the head. And because of your thought and because of your emotion, you acted in real life, in reality. My body is in reality, my mind is not. It's a part of me, it's attached to me, but you can't hear my thoughts. Nobody, it's just in reality, it's just a bunch of like neurons, firing off, and a bunch of like electrical circuits firing off. So in reality, thoughts aren't really real. It's a different realm, it's a different place. It's not like a physical place. I can hear my own thoughts, but you can't pick up sound. If you hook somebody up, you can't hear that. You can't see it. It's not real. It's not there. It's only in the realm of cause. It's the realm of why, the why of things. Anyways, thoughts create conditions, things and conditions. Things do not magically create themselves. The thought process, like I said, is what is causing people to behave and act the way they do. People act accordingly to their belief systems embedded in the mind, running like a program. The behavior is not magically manifesting out of nowhere. It flows directly from the thought process in the mind first. For a person to change their behavior, what we see, how they act in real life, what I'm able to observe, somebody else do, where was I? In order for someone to change their behavior, they must first change their thought process, because the thought process is what's driving the emotions and ultimately their behavior. You change your mental state, and what happens? In physical reality, your actual actions and behaviors change. Hence, thought creates reality. If you want to change your life, you must first change the way you think, because the way you think does not line up with the real world requirements of what you say you want. That's the reason why people say being rich is a mentality, and so is being poor. People who understand what it takes to manifest what they say they want in life realize it starts in the mind. Now, this is going to offend a lot of people just hearing that alone. Being poor is a mentality, being rich is a mentality. Some people say, well, I didn't have a dad, this and that. I didn't have a father. I didn't, I grew up in a nice neighborhood. I grew up in a nice school district. I grew up in a nice town. And because I lived middle class is why I was poor. Because I was in a nice town, I didn't have, we put all of our money in our living situation. So we didn't really have, we had to eat at food pantries. We couldn't buy nice food. We couldn't get nice clothes. We didn't have the best TVs. We didn't get a flat screen TV until I was in maybe late middle school. We didn't have a flat screen TV then. And some people who are really, really poor would be your life sounds, you weren't even poor at all, but no, it's still by comparison to other people, to where I grew up, I was poor. By comparison, but when you grow up in the poor neighborhood around other poor people, you're all poor. By comparison, there's other rich, the drug dealers are rich, but it's they're not really rich. They're still living in the hood. You're not rich. Rich and poor is honestly somewhat subjective. But, doesn't matter how you got there, is what I'm trying to say. People will be offended by that when they hear being poor as that, because, they have certain situations outside of themselves, even before they were born. Their mom did this, their parents did this, before they even around, before they can even make their own decisions, is what put them in those boats, But it doesn't matter, because regardless of how you got there, whether or not it's by your own personal doing or not, you're still in that boat, and the requirements to get out of that boat stay the same. So you can take it personally. You can take being poor personal. You can take it, well, I didn't do this to myself. I didn't choose to be born. I didn't do this to this. It's not fair. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like this anymore. Well, it doesn't matter how you got there. Whether you got yourself there by being stupid and lazy and not caring in school, not caring at your job and getting fired and, getting D's and F's, or, you had mental issues and your parents didn't love you, this and that. Your parents were poor, didn't teach you nothing, didn't give you any, usable real experience, didn't give able to give you stuff, didn't push you to go to school, didn't push you to get a job, didn't push, doesn't matter how you got there. The universe doesn't matter how it got there, because the requirements to get out of that situation stay the same. The difference is, depending how deep low you are, you get more and more requirements. For me, example, I technically grew up poor, considering to most people, because my median, my mom's income, was less than $40,000 a year. I'm pretty sure last time I checked, anything below 50, I thought I heard, anything below 50 was considered poor, by the government, considered poor by the government. Just some regular ass broke nigga down the street, they might be living high off of that. They might be living great off of that. They might not even consider themselves poor because they're fortunate for what they got. But, based on government level, based on what they believe is poor, I was poor. I was lower middle class, very lower middle class, I had to get my own car. Now, my mom gave me $500 down payment to a car, and I'm still paying it off now. But, I didn't get my own car until, well after high school, to a lot of kids, to a lot of regular, normal living people who aren't just, struggling every day, Section 8, regular middle-class people, that's pretty shitty. I know people who, most of my friends, none of my friends, honestly, have gotten their own car. Me and my brother are the only people that I know have gotten their own car. My own cousins haven't gotten their own car. Not all my cousins, a few of them. But, I grew up poor, long story short. And I realized at a young age, you can't take shit personally. You can't take life personally. Life doesn't care about you. Life doesn't know you. The universe doesn't know about you at all. But it is that's why it's fair. It doesn't play favorites. It does not play favorites at all. To get out of your situation, the requirements stay the same. The physical requirements, I can't make a water bottle out of paper. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You need something that's water's not going to soak through. You need something that's going to be strong enough where you can move water. The requirements stay the same. Physical requirements. So yeah, that's mentalism. Everything starts with the mind first. Mental issues, you know what I mean? Everything starts with the mind first. That's how you manifest your world. That's how our world's being manifested. So that's the principle of mentalism. I went on a rant, I went on a tangent, but that's how I talk, that's how I do. That's just who I am. So that's the principle of mentalism. The second principle is correspondence. Some of these principles are a little bit harder to understand. My descriptions of them aren't really as solid. So that's my fault. This is my first podcast, so, fuck you, whatever. At least I'm trying. At least I'm trying to change the world. So here we go. The second principle, correspondence. As a principle, correspondence as a principle, meaning that which is above is like to that which is below. That which is below is like to that which is above. Right? As above, so below. That random ass, kooky ass, weird ass sentence. That old famous statement that people just use every now and again. I'm pretty sure there's a horror movie based on that sentence, whatever. And it literally had nothing to, that statement had nothing to do with the fucking movie, actually. But it's just a cool, weird, quirky statement that probably everybody's heard before. That's how most people view it, anyways. But it actually means something. So the macrocosm, term most people haven't heard, outside of my field of study, at least. The macrocosm, I put in parentheses, the very large, the totality of things. What we perceive, what I perceive is out here. What I perceive is beyond myself. The earth, the universe, people, reality. What I experience as outside of myself, right? That's macrocosm. And the microcosm, the very small, the individual units, which comprise the whole. I can't live without the universe. You know what I mean? I have to literally, I need oxygen. This planet is sustaining my life. I'm not just alive on my own. The universe is sustaining me, and I'm able to sustain the universe because I can witness it. But then again, it's still gonna be here, regardless. But without something to perceive it, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, it's still there because it's an object. It's outside of us. It's still going to exist, but doesn't matter at that point. No, it doesn't matter. It's still gonna be there, but it doesn't matter. I need to be here. Consciousness needs to be in the universe for the universe to even matter. So the very small, the individual units, which is me, are reflections of each other. Just like how I said I need to be here, and it needs to be here, I need to be here for anything to even matter. The universe is holographic. It is self-similar across all scales. The universe works like a hologram. Now, a hologram is a flat surface that when you shoot a laser through it, right? When you shoot a laser through it, it projects a 3D image, right? So, if you take that laser, or if you take that hologram, that little square piece, and break it into 4 sections, and then shoot a laser through it, it's not gonna show half. Like, it's not gonna show like a quarter and a quarter and then a quarter and then a quarter. You know, it's not gonna show a quarter, a quarter, a quarter, a quarter. It's gonna show 4 whole images of what you're already showing. So let's say I have a flat disc, and on it there's a projection. Like on the flat disc, it's supposed to be like this water bottle, right? And I shoot a laser through it, it's gonna project the whole water bottle. And if I cut it in half, and then cut it in half, and then shoot a laser through it, 4 pieces, it's gonna show 4 whole water bottles, not half of a water. It's going to show 4 whole water bottles. That's going to lose its resolution, its clarity, its, the HD-ness of it, whatever you want to say. I'm not very educated. I talk stupid. The HD-ness of the water bottle is going to lose its resolution by 4, by a quarter. So that's how the universe works. Everything's contained in the smaller parts. Just like I can take a strand of my hair. Now you don't need my whole body. When people need DNA samples, you don't take the whole human being. Because what's in the bone is in the blood. What's in the blood is in the eye liquid. What's in your nose is in your mouth. You take your hair strand, you're gonna get the DNA. That my DNA is the same here as in my kneecap. You can take my toenail, and it's gonna be my chin hair follicle. It's gonna be in my. I'm everywhere. Everything in me is in every aspect of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it very dumb. I'm saying it very strange. But if you get it, if you can comprehend what I'm saying, it makes perfect sense. Where was I? The universe is in the individual, and the universe is like an individual. They're reflections of each other. To know the workings of an individual will help you understand the macrocosmic laws. Similarly, to learn the macrocosmic laws will help you learn how consciousness works in the individual. The two things cannot be separated. So it's just like, once you learn yourself, once you learn who you are, once you learn who you truly are, you can almost figure out everybody else. Once you learn your own intentions, once you learn how you react to things, once you learn how you feel. Now, granted, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but you can understand things more. I was half-assed, somewhat, shittily working on a rock song, and I made the lyrics, every time I look in the mirror, I can see the evil within my own eyes. And just because this simple fact, I can clearly see the earth has its own evil design. Because when you know yourself, you know how evil you can be. You know how good you can be. You know how nice you can be. You know how mean you can be. You know in situations. That's why Facebook and the social media bullshit, like all these memes, everybody's starting to realize they have the same sense of humor. Everybody's starting to realize they grew up almost the same, at least in our country. Everybody's starting to realize they feel the same way. Everybody's starting to realize that they're going through the same bullshit. We're getting more connected by social media, by technology. We're realizing we're all going through this. We're going through this together. We're all realizing we're not so different after all. And that's how the universe works. That's a fact. We're not different. We're all literally the exact same species. You think a squirrel is much different than a squirrel? No. You think a human is much different? We think we're all super different individuals, which, in a degree we are. I don't want to play the guitar. I don't have an interest in marine biology. To a degree we do have our differences, but for the most part, the differences aren't what makes us different. As weird and as dumb as that sounds, it's the similarities that honestly make us so close. The differences will make us stronger, not so different from each other, though. So yeah, that's the principle of correspondence. Pretty much everything's a mirror, in a way. Like I said, some of these definitions or some of these principles are very strange. Once I upload this to YouTube, comment, ask me questions. Feel free to ask me questions. I'm going to go into more depth with some of this stuff later. But like I said, it's my first podcast. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing at all. As you can see, I'm not very professional. As you can see, I'm not very smart. But oh well, nobody else is trying to save the world. Nobody else gives a fuck. So I'm smarter than some of y'all. I'm trying to wake y'all up. But like I said, so that's correspondence. The third principle is vibration, right? This is one of the things that I learned years ago on my own, literally without doing research. This is something I experienced. Vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. When I say everything moves. Nothing rests. Everything vibrates. My eyebrows vibrating right now on an atomic scale. Everything vibrates. There is no stillness. At the most fundamental level, the universe and everything which comprises it is pure vibratory energy at the most fundamental level. Not at our scale, obviously. I'm solid as a motherfucker. Like, I can't go through myself. People want to say nothing matters because the universe is so big. Well, are you on a universal scale? No. So go to work because you need to eat some motherfucking food. Yeah, I'm just a bunch of vibrating waves, but I'm a hungry bunch of vibrating waves. I will die. So at the most fundamental scale, nothing really matters, and at the most fundamental scale, we're just vibrations. But don't act like nothing don't matters. Don't get all existential. Oh, my life is nothing. No, you, nigga. Are you a planet? Like, you have consciousness. You're alive. You have feelings. You do matter. You know. But the universe has no solidity as such. On a universal scale, on the most fundamental scale. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. Death in this sense is an illusion. Death in this sense is an illusion. Nowhere in the universe can you go and find no motions. The universe has no true solidity. Everything is, think about the word. I broke it up in a hyphen. Destructible. Destructible. Everything has a structure, right? Everything has a structure. I personally believe if there was something that was just one solid piece, one solid thing, it would be indestructible because there's no structure to it. It's one thing, one object, But nothing's like that. My entire body's made out of cells. I am structured, So we have never seen an object that's not structured, technically speaking. You know what I mean? Now we can see a solid piece of, like, let's say iron. Notice how it's close to being pure solidness, pure something, pure just one solid object. But it's not. On a fundamental scale, it's a bunch of vibrations and a bunch of atoms. That's why we can still break it apart. But the more closer you get to one solid object, the harder it is to break it, right? I mean, unless it's just like a solid feather, unless it's just but even that's not, once again, like a feather, an object. It's not a solid thing. So, but yeah, like I said, if there were an object in reality that was in fact solid, even at the atomic level, it would be unbreakable. Like I said, and personally, I wrote this down too. In my opinion, said object wouldn't even be detectable by the human eye or technology, because there is nothing to pick up. It's kind of like a black hole, just like an infinite dip in infinite nothingness. Just, you can't even really witness it. Like, we can't see black holes with our naked eye. That's why we have that's why we have those special telescopes to even witness black holes, because it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just as crazy as the idea of a solid object. But that's the idea of vibration. Nothing solid. Matter is not really real. Matter is not really like matter. It's just vibration. Everything's vibration. It's an illusion. Another fact showing that reality is an illusion of the mind. And that's the third principle of vibration. So far we've got mentalism, correspondence, and vibration. And I'm running through these kind of like sporadically and ridiculous and unprofessional manner, but that's, like I said, just get used to it. This is my presentation style. I feel like it's the most easy to grasp. All right, so the fourth principle is polarity. Everything is dual, right? Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet, excuse me, all paradoxes may be reconciled. Hot and cold are opposites in nature, excuse me. Hot and cold are opposites in nature, but in fact they're the same. Heat is just energy concentrated in a specific area, while cold is just the lack of said energy. So it's just less of the same thing. Just as knowledge and ignorance are actually one and the same. Knowledge is information, and ignorance is lack of information. Honestly, I should put nescience. Nescience is a word that is being sanitized, completely obliterated from the English language. What does nescience mean? Nescience mean? It's hard to even say. I don't even say it that often. I can barely even say it. Nescience. Look it up. What does it mean? Most people who are going to watch this YouTube video, people that slightly know me, my very close friends, my family members, and my half-ass friends that are like on Facebook, acquaintances, random people, people that like somewhat know me that are going to watch this, ask yourself, what does that word mean? You probably don't know, unless you've talked to me about it. But that is a word that's getting deleted from the English language. Nescience is different from ignorance. We, as a society, use ignorance instead of nescience. That's why first of all, quick little rant. We don't know. We don't know what words really mean. We don't look up the definition of words. We don't look up the origins of words, which is even more important than the definition, because definitions change. We change things. Human beings believe. We are the arbiters of truth. Human beings believe what we say goes, when that's not true at all. So, since we believe that, since everything is relative to us, we believe we can change the definition of the words. All that really does is muddy down the real definition. All that really does is confuse us of what we're even talking about, right? So yeah, granted, we made language, but we made language for a reason. We made language to understand objective things. We made words to understand the difference between an apple and an orange, right? Like, yeah, we can change the words, but that's not really helping anything. It's confusing us again. We made words so that we can easily and readily understand the objective difference between things and objects, and even ideas. So, nescience is lack of information because there's a lack of like you can't even learn what it is. Like, for example, back when the Bible was being destroyed, people were nescient. They weren't ignorant of the Bible. They weren't ignorant of the Gospels. They were nescient because they didn't even have the possibility of learning what it had to say. They didn't have the possibility of looking it up for themselves. We nowadays, at least in America, almost everybody having a smartphone are an ignorant people, because we have the possibility of learning. We have the possibility, the capability, the potential. We have the opportunity every waking day of our lives to learn and understand what's going on in this world, but we don't, because we don't care. We don't want to know. We don't want. We don't care. We don't want to know. We simply just honestly, I said it first. We don't care. We simply don't care. We don't want to feel bad. We don't want to change for ourselves, because change is hard. Change destroys friendships. Change destroys your work ethic. Change destroys your entire lifestyle, because we're not living the way we should be. So when you learn the truth, you realize how far you are from the truth, and you realize how crazy it'll sound. So we just ignore it. Hence the word ignorance. Ignorance. You are ignoring it. You know, ignorance and nescience, two different things. Ignorance is your fault. The racist, we don't say the racist is innocent. We don't say that racist is nescient, innocent. Nescient, innocent. That's the reason they sound the same. We don't say he's nescient. We say he's ignorant, because there are clear facts that racism is wrong. There are clear facts. Race has nothing to do with anything. So he's ignorant of those facts. He's ignorant. He's ignorant. He's ignorant of those facts. It's his fault, his bad. It's his problem. You know? You don't say he's innocent. You say he's ignorant, because he's ignoring the truth that race doesn't matter. He's ignoring it because he wants to believe what he wants to believe. He wants to believe it. He wants to feel right. He wants to have something to fight every day. He wants to feel that way every day. He wants to know he's right. He wants to be superior. But it doesn't matter what you want. What matters is what is, and aligning yourself to what is. That's what matters. So that's polarity. Rhythm is the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rhythm is the fifth principle in natural law. Rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides, like an ocean, like a current, tides. All things rise and fall, literally. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure to the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Rhythm is a tendency for something to play out a certain way. Okay. Let me read that again without any pause. Rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. Everything... Oh, no, I fucked it up already. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure to the swing of the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Rhythm is the tendency for something to play out a certain way. Modern biologists are coming out with research saying consciousness has something to do with whether a gene activates or not. Rhythm is the old saying, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Although you can crumble the cookie how you want, you know. Cookie's gonna break the way it wants because life picks the path of least resistance, you know. But that's not necessarily how it needs to go, because you're conscious and aware, and you can choose how you want to make things go. You know, we can manipulate things how we want because we can observe things. We have the power, our hands. You know, we have the capability to change rhythm because we can observe the rhythm and stop it. It's that simple. Like, similarly, there is something that can be done to change the swing or the tide being the rhythm. Excuse me. If you want to get a boat out to sail, if you want to get a boat to sail out to sea, and the currents are very strong, right? So there's going to be a tendency. If you're not going to do anything, the rhythm, the tendency, it's going to be a tendency. The boat's just going to like keep on hitting the shore. It's going to keep on hitting the motherfucking sand. It's never going to go nowhere. It's going to stay on the shore because the tide is pretty strong. But I'm conscious. I'm a being with consciousness, and I have force. I have strength. You know, I can observe what's going on. I can change the tide. All human beings are, we are elements of change. That's all we are. That's what Neo was in the Matrix. That's what we are in real life. We are elements of change because we are aware, and we have the capability since we have muscles and a mind. Because in order for anything to work, you need force and you need reason. What is it? What the fuck was that? I keep going off on rants and losing where I was. Alright, so here we go. If you want to get a boat out to sail, if you want to get a boat to sail out to sea, why do I keep saying that? I'm saying I'm a fisherman. If you want to get a boat to sail out to sea, and the currents are very strong, you're going to have to spend more energy to get that boat out into the open ocean. Same as if Same as if the current is calmer, maybe even pulling out into the sea, which I don't think that's even possible. I just wrote that. You're gonna have a much easier time getting that boat out into the ocean. It's just a tendency on what's more probable, right? The rhythm of how things play out. It's the rhythm of how things play out. Right now, in our times, we're in a stage of not being in flow with the tendencies of consciousness. Right? So I'm going to read that again. Right now, in our times, we are in a stage of not being in flow with the tendencies of consciousness. But instead, we are in a state of stagnated, slow growth in the aggregate. Like as a whole, as a species, as a people. We place deeply in our minds that after a certain age, not to question or even look into at all some of the deep undergoings of one's own self. You ain't got time for that. Some people don't want to do that because they do so many guilty things. But after a certain age, we stop questioning. It's childish to question. You should know by now. Don't you know enough? So with that, you find yourself on your only few downtime hours, sleeping, eating, maintaining whatever it is in your life that is necessary for no immediate changes in your day-to-day, so you can promptly be 5 minutes late to work on a Tuesday, and work maintains the downtime. So the rhythm begins. Since we work every single day, we're in a tendency. We don't want to change, because change just disrupts the tendency. Obviously, change disrupts the tendency, because the tendency is going to stay the same way unless you change it. That's what a tendency is. So instead of changing our lifestyles, we stay the same because we don't want to disrupt our comfort level. Comfort, we are slaves to comfort. They found out that overt slavery, beating somebody, hitting somebody, cutting their feet off for running their way, beating them, raping them, punching them, hurting them, cooking them, doing all this kind of horrible stuff to people, makes people realize, I don't want to live like this. I want my life to change right now. This is horrible. Fuck this. This sucks. They use fear to make you not have an uprising. Because unless you all band together immediately, they're going to kill the person planning the uprising. They're going to not only kill them, they're going to castrate them. Literally more times than not. Literally castrate them. They're going to hurt them. They're going to demoralize them. They're going to dehumanize them. For an uprising. So they used fear and pain to make people submit. But that wasn't enough, because people are not willing to live like that forever. People are like, fuck that. This hurts. This sucks. This is horrible. So they're not uprising. So then they realized, maybe if they don't know they're slaves, maybe if they're comfortable, they're so comfortable, their life's perfectly fine, there's no reason. Because you need a reason. You need the why. You need the why. You need the reason. Everything in life has a reason. Nature has a reason. Man-made objects have a reason. This phone, there's a reason to have this phone to call people. There's a reason it rains to feed the plants. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason we need the sun, because it makes the plants grow. So, if there's no reason for an uprising, it's not going to happen, because you're comfortable. So we've become slaves to our comfort. And we follow the tendency that leads to our most comfortable lifestyle. So we don't want to break the tendency that breaks our comfort. That's why we're in this situation. Because we're not necessarily super comfortable, getting up every day at 6 in the morning, getting every day at 7 in the morning, going to work, and that. It's not that bad. When you complain, see other countries' lifestyles, not that bad. You're like, I don't live like that. This isn't that uncomfortable. I'm actually pretty comfortable. I got a girl, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that, I got a car, and I can go get drunk if I want to. Not now, but I can go get high. Another reason to stay comfortable. We can just instead of being depressed, realizing your problems, instead of just being depressed and go get high, forget about it. You can stay comfortable. Stay comfortable. And fuck it. I don't care. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. Why should I change anything? You know? So the so the tendency stays the same because we're comfortable. So that is rhythm. So now we're on the sixth, and personally my favorite. This principle, I would say, is the strongest principle. They're all incredibly powerful. They're all necessary. They all exist for a reason. They're all here for existence to even exist. They're all requirements, right? But this next principle, cause and effect, is by far the least understood, the most misinterpreted, and it's just the most important principle to me, personally. So basically, cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. So is there free will? Is there free will? Is there free will? Very important question. It's been questioned since the dawn of time. Are we free? Are we free? Am I a robot? Am I stuck to this, universe? Am I bound by this universe to act a certain way? Am I stuck? Do I have my own choices? Am I free to make my own choices? Am I a true conscious being? Is free will real? Yes. Free will. Understand this. Understand this beyond anything else, please. Understand this. Listeners, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, understand this. There is 100% free will. But there is not free will to ignore law without consequences. You can break the law. You can break the law of man. You can break the law of nature. You can break natural law every day of your life. But you can't accept the consequences. We can melt all the water in the goddamn ocean. We can melt every ice cap. We can melt every single piece of ice on this planet. Simply because we choose to. Because I have the free will to do it. Doesn't mean we won't kill ourselves doing it. Doesn't mean we won't die because of it. Doesn't mean we're not going to drown the entire East and West Coast because of it. We did it. We chose to do it. But there are consequences for your choices. People don't want to hear that. There are consequences no matter what. But there aren't consequences because humans make laws. There aren't consequences because we govern ourselves. There are consequences because that's how reality works. That's how the universe works. Cause and effect. I can push my phone off the desk right now. But can I push it off the desk without it hitting the floor? No! It just hit the floor. It just hit the floor because I pushed it off. I chose to push it off. But there's a consequence for everything. There is a consequence for every motherfucking thing you do. And I'm probably going to suffer some consequences I've done in the past. Probably years from now. Who knows? That's why we can't understand consequences. We can't understand consequences because nature and reality is going to bring you the consequences. And because it has to bring you the consequence, it has to intelligently rearrange every dynamic in order for that consequence to hit you. So because of that, there is a time gap between the cause and the effect. And because of that time gap in the middle, we don't think karma's real. We argue it. Karma's not real. No. It's just, a coincidence. It just happened. It just happened. No, motherfucker. That happened because your dumb ass fucked up 35 years ago. Now your wife left you because she found out that you cheated on her 35 years ago. You know? Consequences can take a day. Consequences can take 12 years. Who knows? You know? When I was in health class, sorry, my computer just froze for some reason. When I was in health class, sorry, give me a second. Okay, here we go. When I was in health class, I was told that some STDs take 12 years to show. By that time, do you know who you fucked? Do you know which person you fucked gave you the STD? No! You're probably going to blame the most recent one. Because there's a time gap. Literally. That is exactly how cause and effect work. Can't stress it enough. Now, instead of having a time gap, every time you did a wrong onto somebody, and we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into and talk about what wrongs are, what wrongs and rights are, because there is objectiveness is real. There is no subjective. To a certain degree in science, in certain aspects, things are subjective, but absolutes are real. Scientists want to tell you. Scientists, atheists want to tell you absolutes are not real. Objectiveness is not real. Those two things are lies. Absolutes, that's all there really is, honestly. If you're being honest with yourself, all there are is absolutes. And objectiveness is real. So, for example, if you were to put a right, or if you were to do a wrong to somebody, right? We're going to get rid of the time gap. If you did a wrong to somebody, and every time you did a wrong to somebody, a bee came up to you and stung you on the ass. Every time. Within 2 seconds of you doing something bad with somebody, I punch somebody in the face, and all of a sudden, stabs me in the motherfucking head. I'm going to start, at least, a sensible, regular-ass, normal human being is going to start to correlate, every time I do something wrong, every time I lie to my girlfriend, every time I steal something, or I, do something bad, a motherfucking bee keeps on stinging me, Human beings are going to do one of three things. They might do all three, who knows? Human beings are going to do one of three things. Once you realize, every time I do something bad happens to me. They're either gonna, a sensible human being, an honest human being, a true human being, a holistic human being, a normal human being, I should say, is going to, a, try to stop doing wrong. Right? I would. I don't like it. I've never been stung before. Probably gotta never get stung. Doesn't sound that bad, but why would you want that to happen to you anyways? A regular human being is going to try to not do wrong, so they stop getting stung. What was my other example? Okay, and then the second person might still keep on doing wrong things, but run from their problems for the rest of their life. Criminals, you rob a bank, now you're on the run for the rest of your life. You did it wrong, and you're trying to escape your past. We realize by watching movies and in our own lives, we realize we can't run from our past. That's not going to work either. You can't run from your past. Your past is it always catch up. It always catches up. It always catches up. You've heard it before. It always catches up. You can't run from that bee. You can't run from your past. So, normal human beings try to stop doing wrong. Human beings in denial, they try to run from their past. And the elite, these evil, psychopathic motherfuckers that rule the planet, they do the third option. They realize what the wrong is that they're doing. They realize how karma works. And instead of doing the wrong themselves, instead of doing it directly themselves and getting the full karmic impact of their actions, they manipulate and get others to do it for them. So the karma bypasses them and gets them. That's why they deceive us. We choose by our ignorance, by ignoring the truth. We choose to do their will, and we get the impact. We get the impact, not them. They're going to get the impact once I wake up enough of you motherfuckers to help me and help the truth seekers, Mark Passio, and all these other people trying to wake y'all up in this horrible nightmare that we're living. But until we as a people hold them accountable, you've heard the term before, you gotta hold them accountable. Until we hold them accountable, karma's gonna keep on hitting us, the regular people, the planet, the nature, everything, food industry. Our food is killing us. Our doctors are killing us. Everything's killing us because they're in control and we're allowing them to be in control. So karma's not hitting them. Karma's hitting us. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm trying to read this whole thing. Yeah, that's the thing also. Like I was saying, karma doesn't always work on a one-to-one scale like that either. It's not just always you. Based on your actions, it can affect the whole world. Ignoring things, ignoring right and wrong. For example, if somebody go to rob somebody, right, middle of the street, boof, 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 rob somebody, kill them dead in the street, and we just stood there, didn't call the police, didn't fight them back, not my business. There's gonna be more robbers because nobody's doing anything. So everybody's gonna start getting robbed, and the people that are robbing people are gonna realize some of these motherfuckers are dumb. Let's band together and get a mafia going on and just rule them. Government. That's what that is. Government. They're robbing us, and nobody's doing anything. They're killing us. Nobody's doing anything. And since we're not, like I said, holding them accountable, we're not accounting for their actions. We have to be moral accountants. We're not accounting for their actions. So they're running amok, fucking us in the ass because we're not holding them accountable. And a lot of us want to think, well, we need to put policies in place. We need to, delegate our, shit to fucking, politicians and vote our people in. They're just people too. We all need to until we as a species stop being afraid and until we can trust in one another, we all need to work on this. We can't just delegate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people to run 50,000 people. We can't just delegate a whole team of motherfuckers to delegate millions of people. We all need to be part of this. We all need to be accounting for this. We all need to be watching our backs. We can't just have representatives. Think, representatives. They literally represent, they don't represent me. But you're allowing them to represent you. You're allowing 2 men, 1 man, 3 guys, 4 guys, 12 guys, 100 guys to represent thousands, to represent millions, to represent billions. It's not going to work. That doesn't work. We've had government as long as human beings have been around, and we're even fucking up the planet. Planet's about to blow up right now. We got like 200 years left, if even. Because we delegate our responsibilities to other assholes. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Policies aren't the answer. Government's not the answer. Those are the problems. Problems. Those are the problems. Whew. Alright, so there are 2 planes of cause and effect. Alright, I'm getting hot. Hold on. Let me turn the... No, I'm not gonna leave. It's too unprofessional to just leave y'all with my beautiful Skyrim maps here while I go fix the heat while I'm getting hot as fuck talking up here. Alright, so there's 2 planes of cause and effect. The 2 planes of cause and effect. The plane of effects and the plane of causality. The plane of effects is the physical world. It is reality. It is Earth. It is where we are right now. It's what I'm standing on. It's what we're all standing on. Earth, the planet. Reality. Creation. Existence. Whatever you want to call it. This is where manifested realities have formed due to their underlying causes. The plane of effects constitutes that which has already occurred. My mom wanted a son. Not a son, maybe. She wanted a child. My mom wanted a child. She thought of having a child. She thought of having a child. She thought of having a child. So, she had a child. Her mind is what caused her to create the child. She wanted it, she made it. Me being in this world is the manifestation of that thought. I'm already here. This is the plane of that which has already occurred. As such, no power to affect change lies here. No power to affect change lies in the plane of effects, because it is the physical manifested reality. Because that which has already occurred cannot unoccur. I cannot be unborn. I can be killed, but I've already existed. Even if I die, I've already existed. I will have always already existed. I don't care if it's 500 billion years from now, and this galaxy has been swept away, and this whole place has gone away. I did exist. I did exist. Regardless. Doesn't matter if I'm here now or then. I did exist. It happened. You can't change what happened. It has become that which is the truth. What I said was true. I did exist. I am the truth. It is true I exist. It is true I did exist. It is true I existed yesterday. It's not true that I'm going to exist tomorrow. I can die I can have a heart attack right now and not exist tomorrow. So, truth is what is and what was. That is all that truth is. What is and what was. The plane of effects is the real world. It is the manifested reality we are living in and has occurred due to the causal factor prior. Human consciousness, our mindset, the way we think, seems to be trapped upon the plane of effects, meaning that humanity as a whole remains ignorant of the underlying causes which they themselves set into motion and which lead to self-inflicted suffering in their lives. Plane of causality, the mental world, aka, as I like to call it, the spiritual realm. Because spirit and reality, like this. There is no I die and go here. You're here and you're here and it's here. It's intertwined. The plane of causality, the mental world, this is where causes are set into motion prior to manifesting as formed realities. Let me read that again. The plane of causality. This is where causes are set into motion prior to manifesting as formed realities. This plane of causality constitutes the causal factors, the why of things, right? The why is this happening? The why will this happen, which underlie and precede all manifested things and events. All power to affect change lies on this plane. Let me read that again. This plane of causality constitutes the causal factors, the why, which underlines and proceeds all manifested things and events. All power to effect change lies on this plane. Human consciousness must move from the plane of effects to the plane of causality in order for human beings to understand the causal factors of the conditions which they collectively manifest in their lives. Only then will humanity be able to co-create their shared reality on a conscious level rather than an unconscious level. Because we're already co-creating existence. We're already co-creating our hell because we're not doing it consciously. We're all throwing shit on the ground. We're all littering, creating pollution, creating the destroy. We all are already collectively creating this world. But since we don't care and we're not thinking about it, it's going to be a shit show. We have to consciously understand what we're creating and why we're creating it in order for it to be a good thing. All we do is push it off on somebody else. Oh, somebody else already got it. The scientists are thinking about it. This person's thinking about it. The billionaires are thinking about it. The government is doing it. They're planning it. They're the conscious ones of it. I don't have to think. I'm just trying to go to work. All right, I'm just trying to go to work and eat some ass when I get home. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to smoke some weed and go. We're not consciously doing anything. We're conscious in our own lives, barely. We're barely conscious in our own lives. So that's why our own lives aren't where they want to be. I'm not where I want to be because it's hard. I'm not saying any of this is easy. It's hard. But as you know the cheesy saying, anything worth fighting for. How does it go? I don't even know. But everything that's worth anything is worth fighting for. Fighting is hard. You ever fought somebody? It's hard. It's not easy. So in conclusion, plane of causality is the mental world, the why of things. All power to effect change lies in the mental world. This is where human consciousness must go. And the plane of effects is the physical world, aka the manifested reality. No power to effect change lies here. This is where human consciousness is trapped. Alright, so that's cause and effect as a whole. Like I said, one of the most important ones out there. Gender, the last principle. Gender. That word's been getting thrown around a lot recently. Lots going on with that word. A lot. So gender is in everything. Gender is in everything. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Mental gender is the state of coexistence between masculine and feminine aspects of the human mind. Mental gender is the state of coexistence between masculine and feminine aspects of the human mind. Sorry, I think I'm getting sick. My throat's sore. My nose is like I got phlegm in the back of my face. I don't feel good right now. Let me tell you that. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. I don't feel good. I gotta take a shit. Ugh. Alright. So, our left brain hemisphere largely facilitates the masculine aspect of the mind. The left brain hemisphere. Largely. And I'm saying now these aren't absolutes. I'm not no brain surgeon. I'm not a genius by any means. I'm far from a genius. But I got common sense. A lot of people ain't even got that. So left brain largely facilitates the masculine aspect of the mind. Which is the masculine aspects of the mind is intellect, So, logic, analytical, and linear thought processes. That's the masculine. Logic, analytical, and linear thought processes. Necessary. Yes. Important. Yes. Better or more important than the right? No. People, women, and men, but mostly women get offended because, through society, people act like men are better, this and that. Nobody's better. We need both. Everything's equal. Everything needs to be equal. Everything's not equal. Let me tell you that. Women know that for sure. Everything's not equal, but everything needs to be equal. There needs to be a balance. There is no this side's better than this side. They're both fucking necessary. Because, back to my water bottle example. Is this side of the water bottle more important than this side? No, because without this side, the water would fall out. Without this side of water, you need both. Example used. Perfect. Great example. So, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates the feminine aspect, or intuition, creativity, compassion, and holistic thought processes. I almost think this is more important, but I know there needs to be a balance. But those things are super important. You need both. Men and women need both. Women need to think like men. Men need to think like women. They need to think like both. We need both. We need compassion. We need everything. We need logic. We need intuition. We need analytical thinking. We need all this kind of stuff. Sometimes you gotta be emotional. You gotta know when to use your heart. You gotta know to not give a fuck and use your brain. You need both to live a successful life. That's why women get pushed over more often, because they typically only use their right brain. Women who are in power, CEOs, motherfucking boss-ass bitches, Michelle Obama, you know what I mean? Boss-ass people, boss-ass women. They're tough. They're tough. Men call them dykes. Men call them lesbians because they tough bitches. They don't give a fuck. They're using that left side of the brain. They're using that masculine energy, which is not a negative thing. Women need to use that left side of the brain. Women need to use that analytical thinking. Women need to use that logical thinking. Men need to be more compassionate. Men need to be more creative. That's why a lot of niggas ain't got cat pickup lines. They're not creative. They're only thinking logically. Oh, fat man, I want to get my dick sucked, blah 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 blah. But they're not creative. They're just trying to be logical. I mean, you wanna fuck, I wanna fuck, let's fuck. That's not hot. That's not smooth. That's logical, I guess. Yeah, I wanna fuck. Yeah, she wants to fuck. That's logical, but it's not compassionate. It's not creative. It's not holistic. You need both. Both of them. You need both of them. Anyways, so that is all 7 principles. Whew! Making this podcast is fun, actually. I feel like I'm just crazy talking to myself. This is nice. Nobody's in the room, chilling with my dog. But, so that's all 7 principles. Although, there is a lost principle. There is an 8th forgotten and lost principle, which encompasses all of the principles. Right? So, I don't need this water bottle. Right? What's in the water bottle is important. What's in the water bottle, aka the water, is what's going to keep me alive, right? This water bottle is not going to keep me alive. I can't eat this water bottle. It's not going to sustain my life. What's in it is important. But I can't get to what's in it. I can't get the water if I can't contain the water. That's what the 8th principle is. It is the container of all the principles. Now, Freemasons, they have the compass, whatever the fuck it's called, the scale, whatever the fuck that bullshit is. Their stupid ass symbolism. Not stupid, but I call it stupid. They have the whole fucking scale and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Just look up their rate. Just look up their symbol. And in the middle of their little compass, they have a G. Capital G. Now, porch masons that are low level, low tier, just in it for men's club. Because the Freemasons, all it really is a men's club. They tell you how to be successful, teach you how to save your money, teach you how to do this and that. It's honestly a pretty good club to join. They teach you a lot of stuff. They teach you about, life, this and that, how to be, like I said, successful, stuff like that, business ideas, practices. They talk about life. They talk about marriage, talk about this and that, talk about life issues. The G, they tell the low-level Masons, the G stands for God. And, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, very nice. Because in order to be Freemason, you have to believe in God. You can Google it right now. There's requirements to be Freemason. You gotta be a man. You have to believe in God. They don't care what God is. You can believe in Satan as long as you believe in a higher power. But long story short, they tell low-level Masons they believe it's God. Excuse me. And as you go, as you get higher in the ranks, they tell you it stands for geometry. Because once you realize God isn't an entity, once you realize God isn't a person, it's more of a force, you realize geometry is an important aspect. So it's more of an aware version of God. It's more of a woke version of God. It's more of a woke idea of what creation is, geometry. Just like mathematicians tell you math is the language of the universe. That sounds pretty powerful. That sounds pretty important. You can use math to understand the cosmos. You realize ideas are not just concepts, but ideas are objective. Some are. Some are. Most aren't, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm trying to say. And so first it's God, then it's geometry. But once you reach the highest level, which is not 33 degrees, there's hundreds of degrees. It's not 33 degree Mason. Once you reach the high degrees, you realize the true meaning of the G, the true purpose of the G. And G stands for the generative principle. Generative principle. Generator. You know what I'm talking about? Just like a train, the fucking little pistons is generating energy. It's the generating principle. Now, I'm going to read you my description. Now, most of this stuff, everything I've been reading so far, everything is almost word for word. Mark Passio's, great guy. Look him up right now. He's a spiritual leader. He is a true warrior fighting this battle better than anybody else I've ever seen fight truth or fight lies. Look him up right now. But yeah, all this stuff I mostly got from him. So it is the lost principle. The generative principle is the lost principle. And here's my description of it. The generative principle must be present in order for any change to manifest itself. The principle itself isn't what most people would think it is. When people hear what it actually is, they will already have a preconceived notion of what it actually is and means. It is the first and original causal factor that takes place for the things that we say we want to actually take place. The real word for the generative principle is actually much simpler than the occult variant. Occult simply means hidden. It is the real word for generative principle is much simpler than its hidden word, generative principle. The generative principle is care. C-A-R-E. Care. I like to distinguish it from regular care with all caps. Care. Just like how God is a name, so you put it with a capital G. Care should be in all caps to completely distinguish it from care, regular care. Now this is different from the word compassion or love even. Most people would like to use those words in replacement for care. This only muddies the meaning, causing an unclear definition. This means care in this sense means what are you actually giving attention to and helping grow. Because what you're focusing upon is what will actually and ultimately be growing, being created, and becoming real. Let me read that again. Where is it? This means, what are you actually giving attention to and helping grow? Because what you're focusing upon is what will actually and ultimately be growing, being created, and becoming real. That's what you care about. What you care about is going to grow. You care about your child, you're going to make sure he's not being babysat by a pedophile. You're going to make sure he's not being babysat by somebody who doesn't care, who will let him eat sugar. If you really care. Because when you care about something, it's in your mind. It's in your heart. It's in your gut. You know, when you care about something, every aspect about you is caring about it. You're physically caring about it. You're thinking about how to even better it. You know, if you're growing a plant, let's say, back in the day, I used to have a horticulture class in high school. I cared about my basil in a holistic sense of care. So not only did I just care enough to water it, I thought about what else besides the water can I give it to help it grow. I give it vermiculite, plant food, this and that. You care about it, so you're gonna exponentially try to make it grow. Because you care about it. What was that? Okay. This now, even though I'm saying care about something, this does not mean don't look at what's going on in the world. This does not mean don't look at what's going on in the world because it's negative, and you're gonna feed that and give power to it so it'll grow. In that instance, you are still, in fact, feeding something. You're feeding ignorance. That's when you. Well, what the fuck was I? Yeah, because when you ignore stuff, you're feeding it. You're allowing it to grow. Because some things are growing on their own. Some things care about themselves, and they're gonna make themselves grow. Fungus mold on your shower ceiling is gonna grow if you don't care enough to get rid of it. Ignoring it isn't gonna fix it. Caring about it isn't gonna fix it. Just like, for example, the food industry. Ask any person on the street how they feel about animals are treated in the food industry. Most people with a normal, healthy amount of compassion would agree it's horrible. So, they agree, they know it's bad. People love animals, We love animals. I'm not saying you don't love animals. You don't care about animals. Because anybody normal, like I said, with normal amount of healthy compassion would agree it's horrible. But then, why does it continue the way it does? It's because they don't actually care enough to make a change. They, in reality, in real life, which is why it's happening in real life, in reality, care more about being able to eat what they want rather than the unnecessary torture and suffering of animals, simply for our own taste buds. I care about what I want to eat. I care about my taste buds. I care about my food tasting good more than the fact baby pigs. Now, pigs are known to be smart. Pigs and dogs have the mental capacity to be about as smart as a 3 to 5-year-old. Baby pigs, every piece of pork you have eaten, every single piece of pork you have eaten has gone through what I'm about to explain right now. Baby pigs get picked up. Baby pigs get picked up. Pliers, not scissors, not sharp, surgery grade tools. Rusty, bad, shitty, dried blood, chipped off, busted up raggedy pliers. They get their ears painfully cut off and mutilated. No anesthetic, they're just holding them, cutting them non-stop. Pig screaming, squealing louder, more high-pitched every single time, just cutting the same wound, digging deeper into it, scratching it up. And as soon as he's done doing that, he snaps his teeth off with the same plan, breaking his teeth off, snapping his teeth. Baby pig. Same intelligence as a 3 to 5-year-old. He's going to remember that. You don't forget that. I remember traumatic dreams. Shit that didn't even happen to me when I was 5. You remember trauma more than your good memories. Imagine getting your teeth taken off as a 5-year-old. Snapped off. Bro, you hear it snapping, breaking his teeth. Pig, scream. You can see his feet trying to escape, jump off the dude's body. Then after he gets his ears mutilated, he gets his teeth busted off. Every pig you've eaten has gone through this. Every pig you have eaten has gone through this. After that, after his ears mutilated, his teeth busted, snapped off, that cold air hitting the veins, the pain. He doesn't even have hands. He can't even hold his neck. You know when you hold your wound, it feels better? You're like, fuck, you hold your wound. They can't even hold themselves. They can't even hold themselves. They just sit there in all the busted, poor, horrible agony. Ears burning on fire. Teeth bleeding. Then they get their tails snapped, clipped off. They can't even hold themselves. Then after all that, the dude just chucks them on the ground. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it. Dude chucks them. Whips them across the room into some random cage. He might die there. That whole process could have been pointless because the pig might have just died an hour later. He just got tortured to die. And they don't even use that meat because he's rotten and they throw it away. He was tortured for nothing. Some of the pigs don't even make it to the slaughter. Killed, tortured for nothing. For nothing. For nothing. And we don't care. 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 It's going to happen to us. It's going to happen to us. It's happened to us. Human slavery has happened. Human slavery is happening right now as I'm talking to you. Human slavery is happening right now. Someone got their feet cut off for running away. Right now. We don't care. We don't care. What can I do about it? What can I do about it? Do what the fuck I'm doing. Care. Wake somebody else up. Tell your neighbor. You know? We just all need, it's not hard. We just all need to do it. Doing it's not hard. We just need to get everybody to do it. That's the hard part. Where was I? Now let's see. Okay, here we go. Now, with all its principles put together in a series of circles, it creates the famous seed of life, which Google would tell you the seed of life symbolizes the 7 days of creation, which in a way is correct. The seed of life is necessary for any kind of creation to take place. But the 8th principle is the encapsulating principle. Like I said, it is the outer shell. It is what holds all the other principles in place. Because when you care enough, you're going to do all the other things. You're going to realize all the other things. Which is why, when it's put all together, it becomes the seed of life. In order to grow any type of plant, you mustn't let the seed itself be broken. The outer casing is what's protecting the inner, potent, creative, generative material. What's inside the seed is what grows. The seed itself is just holding it. It breaks open and lets that out, but it's protecting the generative material. It generates life. It generates something. The generative principle. Now, those are all the principles. Every last one. Those are all the principles. That's the formula for life. That is the active. It is always active. It is immutable. It is inherent to creation. All 8 of those things are inherent to life. It's inherent to creation. It exists beyond human perception. Whether or not we believe it or not, whether or not we observe it or not, it is there for us to observe. Whether or not we see it or not, whether we believe it or not, it is there. Those 7 principles are what govern human behavior. They govern how our life is. They govern the consequences of our behavior. They govern where we are in life. They are here. Those are facts. Those are not agreed upon ideas. Those principles are inherent to creation. They are binding, immutable, as in not able to turn off, not able to stop. Just like it doesn't care about you. Just like gravity doesn't care about us. If there was a child about to walk off a cliff, gravity's not going to say, look at that sweet, innocent child that doesn't understand how gravity works. Let me shut off for a second. No, it doesn't matter. It's going to come off. Whether or not we agree or even believe or want to agree and believe, that's how it works. That's how it works. That's why we're in this state of being right now. Whew, for a second, I thought this whole podcast froze. I was about to be mad as a motherfucker. Jesus. Anyways, so yeah, 7 principles are always in effect right now, to this very second, always in effect, always will be. They cannot be broken. They cannot be stopped. They can be broken. Let me back up. They can be broken, but not without consequence, because that's how they work. They govern the consequences. And if you follow all these principles, that's how a society lives truly free. Truly free. Truly free. By following those principles. Now, just like people don't believe, well, who's going to do that? We already follow the rules now, as a whole. Yeah, there's criminals out there, blah, 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 yeah. But as a whole, we follow the rules now because we believe that's how we have a set up society. We follow them simply because we believe that's how we have a set up society. Plus the fear of the consequence. If we just understood there is natural consequence, as in the society we're in right now is the consequence of not living true and not living free, if we can just understand that, we can live those rules then. But we already believe the man-made rules because we chose to believe those rules. We just need to choose to switch our mind. That's it. That's literally it. Now, I'm going to get into what natural law is not. And that'll be the end of my first podcast. And I'm so proud that I finally fucking did it. I'm so happy that I finally fucking did it. I stopped being fucking lazy. Like I said, everybody ask me questions. Please ask me questions. Please ask me questions. I'm going to start working on my next podcast. Probably take another fat ass minute. Study this podcast. Study what the fuck I'm saying. Because look it up for yourself. Look up Mark Passio. Look up the animal documentary about it gets into the food industry. It gets into how animals are treated in the food industry, the clothing industry, and for science. Fuck that documentary. You gotta have guts. You gotta have guts to watch this thing. I felt horrible. You either have to have guts to watch this, or you have to be a sadistic bastard. Only 2 ways you can watch this. You gotta have thick skin, or you gotta be a fucked up human being to watch this. I, for one, watched it because I made myself watch it. It was hard. Especially probably a week after I watched it, I cried in my bed with my dog, because I realized how fucked up the world is right now. I thought about baby animals being tortured, and in a genuine sense. I really thought about it. It just fucked me up, and I was because it fucked me up because I feel like I have a moral obligation to help fix it, and I'm like, how can I help fix that? It's gonna be so much work. How can I help fix that? There's so many fat asses that just want bacon. Oh, bacon! Get the fuck out of here! What if someone took your kid and just skimmed their back off because they wanted bacon? You want bacon then, you piece of shit? You say, yeah, you're a piece of shit then. People still act like it's okay. They're like, I still don't care. Well, you're fucked up then. Like, end of period. End of story. You don't care. You watch that and you don't care. You're fucked up. That's the only logical explanation. You are fucked up objectively. You are objectively fucked up. You can watch that and not care. Period. End of story. Period. You're not cool. You're not edgy. You're not cool. You're just a fucked up person. If you can watch a documentary and still not care about animals, you are a fucked up person by definition. By definition, you are a fucked up person. So, what natural law is not? This is going to be one of the most helpful things for people who are stuck in this mindset of Darwinism. This is going to be really helpful for people who are stuck in the mindset of believing what they already believe and not allowing to pause what they already believe and to just listen to something new. Because like I said, because it is termed natural law, which I'm not going to change the term because that's what it is. That's the term. I'm taking the term back, because of that term natural law, people already ascribe it to natural order. People already ascribe it to Darwinism, survival of the fittest, which is already a satanic mindset. And I'm going to soon make a podcast about what Satanism really is. And I have a friend of mine who is a Satanist. And she completely agrees with their tenets. Not completely all of them. She told me not all of them, but she doesn't understand. Like, she doesn't see anything wrong with it. She doesn't. She thinks they're freeing concepts. She thinks that they're like mind-opening concepts. She thinks they're fair and just concepts. She is subscribing to a different set of Satanism. But I'm gonna make a video that hopefully will open her eyes to that and let her see why Satanism is not the way to go, why Satanism is destroying our society, and how we as a people are indoctrinated to a low level of Satanism. So I'll make that podcast. Maybe not next, but I don't know. We'll see. But back to what natural law is not. So, in order to truly understand what natural law is, you have to understand what it isn't. Many people hear the term natural law and will already have a preconceived notion in their mind of what it means. Most people, when they hear the term natural law, believe it has something to do with Darwin's theory of the natural order. This, in fact, is exactly what it is not. Natural law has nothing to do with the animal kingdom, and is only capable of impacting and affecting the human population and any creature capable of holistic intelligence, meaning one is able to consider things not only with the mind, but with the heart energy and intuition as well. When I say intuition, I mean the gut, the soul, the spirit. One who is able to tell the difference between objective, harmful behavior. Notice I didn't say objective wrong behavior. Objective harmful behavior. Due to the preconceived ideas around the word natural, when trying to explain what natural law is, people are not going to hear or comprehend what it is you are trying to get across to them. I should say what I'm trying to get across to them. But this podcast is for people who are already like me, like I said in the beginning. So this is like a helpful teaching seminar to like people who are already like high level, like occultists, or de-occultist, I should say. Because when somebody hears the term natural law, they immediately want to think I'm applying human standards of morality to the animal kingdom, and or trying to apply animal behavior to the human domain, which of course does not apply. Because of this, I need to explain what the term natural and what the term law means in the sense that I'm ascribing them. Natural law, in the way that I'm using it, is simply the consequences of human behavior that humans choose to take regarding whether or not they are moral choices. So let me read that again real quick. Let me read that again real quick. Natural law, in the way that I'm using it, is simply the consequences of human behavior that humans choose to take regarding whether or not they are moral choices. It is the universe's excuse me. It is the universe's reaction according to the actions we as a species choose to take with our own free will. It is the idea that every action has an opposite and ego reaction. Once again, opposite, like stated before in the principle of natural law, is the same thing, just different ends of the pole. Now that's what natural law is. It is all it is. It has nothing to do with animal kingdom. Do not ascribe that to the animal kingdom. It has nothing to do with any kind of animals. It has nothing to do with animals. Nothing to do with animals, how animals act. It has nothing to do with us applying animal behavior to us. It has nothing to do with us applying human behavior to animals. It has nothing to do with animals at all. Natural law has only something to do with humans and creatures beyond. Creatures capable of holistic intelligence. Animals are not capable of holistic intelligence. Animals are not capable of realizing their actions can affect the entire planet. Are not capable of thinking that abstractly. The reason we evolved and are able to change our world, manipulate, have cars, towns, cities, that's what makes us different from animals. So just how we're different from animals, we have a different set of rules, we have a different set of mental, we have a different mental capacity, And because of that, because we're able to understand things on a higher level, we're held to a higher account. Let me say that again. Because we're able to understand things on a higher level, we're held to a higher account. So it has nothing to do with animals. Natural law has nothing to do with animals. The only reason it's termed natural law is because it is the natural form of consequences for humans. Natural as in inherent to nature. We didn't make these rules. It's just how it works. It's the natural course of how consequences work. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with natural order or animals and humans. It has nothing to do with animals. That's it. And just like that, my podcast is over. I finally did it. I finished it. I'm so happy and I'm so proud of myself. I can finally move on. My career is jumping off to a good start. Hopefully y'all motherfuckers like this shit. Hopefully this shit pops off. And hopefully you guys, more importantly, hopefully y'all can understand this bullshit and grasp what the fuck I'm saying. Because this is this is so important. So important to becoming free. And once again, my name is Christopher West. Yeah. Subscribe to my channel. My channel's name is Uncommon Sense. Trying to make the uncommon common. And I'll be back again. I might do an upload video of when you can expect the next podcast out, but expect it 2 weeks to a month. I have to write a script out again. I have to do more research. I have it in my head, but I have to add the extra research in front of me so I can articulate it in a good sense, So, yeah, hour and 43 seconds, or an hour and 43 minutes, that's pretty nice. But, yeah, have a great day. Subscribe. Share this with your friends. And do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Stop giving responsibility to others. Do it yourself.